Hi, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Tindeq Progressor 200 and the Weiheng WH-C06. These are both Bluetooth force measuring devices, so they measure the force applied between these two anchor points. And why is this relevant to climbing? Well, obviously if you can connect a lifting edge such as this to one end and the other end to some kind of anchor, then you can measure how hard you can pull on the edge, which is a really useful metric to use for tracking your training performance. So why do I have both devices? Well, at the end of 2024, I decided I was going to try and take my training for 2025 a bit more seriously, and I wanted something I could use to have some quantifiable data about how my training was going. And I'd heard about the Tindeq, which has been around for a few years now, so I picked one up over Christmas with my Christmas money, and I've been using it for a few weeks. The device itself is quite neat. It's quite small, seems quite well made. It's got a little USB-C charging port on it and a button you press to pair it to the app. It's pretty straightforward. Now the app itself is not great. It's got some ways to track various sessions. You have like peak force, and an endurance test, and a rate of force development, and critical force. So it's got some useful stuff in there. But there are some issues with the app I found to do with displaying data. The historical charts don't seem to work for me, but I'll demonstrate that issue when I come to show it in use. As I am joining the legions of unemployed programmers quite soon, I thought I'd make myself a little project. So I bought one of these Bluetooth devices from AliExpress for $20. At this point, I should point out that the Tindeq is $160. Quite a big price difference. Functionally, they appear to do the same thing. Anyway, my plan was to take this Bluetooth device and write my own app so that I could basically have the same features for a much lower price and maybe make a bit of money on the side. But alas, someone has beaten me to it, and there is quite a good app already available called Climb Harder, which is really neat. It's much better than the Tindeq app, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute as well. So here I now have the Tindeq attached to my lifting pin and my lifting edge, and I have the app open already, and I go to peak load and do new session, do left and right, start, and then scan for the device. And now I press the button and it appears. Tear it. And we're good to go. So now I do my lifting. 53 on the left, which is pretty average for not being very warmed up. So now I'll move on to the right hand side. Bit higher there as expected, 56. And now I'll be able to demonstrate the issue that I have with the Tindeq app. So if I save, I put a tag in just to say it was me, and you can see I've got the graph here of my performance over time, which is great. But if I go back and open it again, go to peak load, I should be seeing that graph here at the top, but it has disappeared and I can't get it back again. I have to do a new session and complete it and save it, and then the charts appear, which is super annoying and kind of fundamental feature. So now I have the Weiheng connected. So in the Climb Harder app, I can connect to it like this. Go to assess, do a left and right peak force assessment, start, and pretty much as before, you can see the peak pulling force with my left hand, about 50. yeah, about the same. And then I switch to the right hand side. Yep, pretty much the same. As you can see, very similar kind of data. And I hit save now, and you can see the chart here with the historical measurements. Now, unlike the Tindeq app, here I can safely go into assessments and open it, and I can see the history in here, so it works as expected. So you've seen the two devices in action now. As you can tell, fundamentally they do the same thing. The difference from my experience right now is that the app Climb Harder, which I use with the $20 device, works, and it shows me the charts of my historical performance, which is really neat. The $160 Tindeq and the Tindeq app does not, which is kind of annoying. I'd expect more for your money. Now, I'm just a punter, and all I really care about is getting a number that I can use. So just peak force and maybe the endurance number is enough for me. Just having a data point that I can track to see when I'm getting stronger or not stronger is all I need. The Tindeq does have more assessments, like the rate of force development and the critical force. I'm not a sports scientist. I don't know or particularly care about those details. If you're more of a hardcore training person, maybe that's maybe that's going to be more useful to you. But I think for your average punter, this represents excellent value with the Climb Harder app. The Climb Harder app is free, although the developer does seem to have put some premium features behind a subscription, which is a bit of a dick move. I think if you're going to have premium features, just make it a one-time unlock. Subscriptions just to enable things in the app is not great. But I hope this has been interesting. Bit of a shame I didn't get to have my little programming project making the app for this, but kudos to the guy that got there before me. And thanks for watching.